Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tiara and I am the owner of Black Teacup. So in this week's video, I want to show you guys how I created this rhinestone tumbler. And I'll show you what inspired me. I'll insert a picture here. So I was inspired by these nails, and this is what I got out of it. The supply list is very small. It didn't take too much time since it's not a full rhinestone tumbler. So if you're interested in knowing how I created this, keep watching. Everything that I used will be linked down below as always. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. That really does help me out and I appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so to start, I have a 20-ounce skinny that I have sanded, and we're going to base paint it pink peony. And this is not going to have glitter, so you want to make sure you do short, quick burst all the way around until you get full coverage. Once I have my spray paint job done, I'm going to take my tumbler in and cover it with epoxy. This tumbler will not have glitter on it, so I wanted to go ahead and protect that spray paint job. So we'll leave our cup to cure, and in the meantime, I'm going to use some black permanent vinyl to cut out some strips of vinyl. So I cut out two that are 1.5 inches wide, and then I cut out two that are 0.25. So I have my cup and it's cured now, and what I did was just kind of eyeball it. I did reposition my vinyl a few times with no issues, no problem. I'm going to put this vinyl right under epoxy. So right now I'm just going to play around with the vinyl until I get it the way I want it. So I know that I want my two thicker strips to be across from each other. So I'm kind of just lining those up like this. You see me doing that here, and it worked out perfectly. And then I know I want my two smaller stripes also to be aligned across from each other. So I did the same thing. Kind of just eyeballed it and repositioned my vinyl until I got it the way I wanted it, and it was no big deal. No hassle, no rulers, no measuring, and maybe I just got lucky this time. But you could use a ruler if you wanted to and measure in between each space to make sure that everything is measured or separated properly. Here is my tumbler with all the vinyl stripes on it. I have not cut off the excess yet, so it's overlapping into the inside and the bottom. But that's okay. We're going to use our X-Acto knife to cut off the excess. Also, if your vinyl has any bubbles, that's okay as well. Just use your X-Acto knife to slit a hole in it and like press it out, rub the air out. No problem, easy fix. Okay, so I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and I'm going along the bottom rim of my cup, putting a slice and just ripping that piece off. So I repeat the process all the way around the cup, even with the bigger pieces. Guys, I'm not going for perfection here because I'm going to add rhinestones on top of this black vinyl. So it really doesn't have to be neat and perfect. It's going to be covered. So my goal is just to get it on there. Try not to have as many bubbles. If you have some bubbles under the vinyl, that's okay. And then just cut off the excess. And we're going to go right in with our next layer of epoxy. So now I'm just going to trim the top portion of that vinyl and get rid of that excess as well. All right, so here's my tumbler after all of that vinyl work and cutting and trimming. To me, everything looks pretty lined up evenly. I'm happy with it. It didn't take a lot of time. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and put this under epoxy. I did not seal my decals, the vinyl strips. I just went in with epoxy, one nice thin layer of epoxy. Now, if you're worried about your vinyl peeling, you could like go back in and do the epoxy method over the vinyl, where you take a very thin layer and just rub it around the edges of that vinyl, and then go back in after that dries with another coat, and that'll ensure that it won't peel up. However, I didn't have any issues with peeling. I went right in with my epoxy and my torch. So next, I took my tumbler outside for sanding after it had cured, and here you see me and my drill attachment sanding my tumbler. After sanding, I wiped it down with some alcohol and went right back in with another layer of epoxy. So I had to break out my jewels. I bought these jewels back in 2019, December of 2019, and I did a couple of acrylic cups with these jewels on them. So I kept them in this little container, and this is just the way I've always done it. I used E6000 back in 2019, and I'm going to continue to use that. I know that there are different glues out there now available, so just use whatever is your preference. I also got my jewels from the Deco Craft Blingology. I will link her website down below in the description box. She has a lot of different assortments and sizes, and I definitely recommend it. So here are the syringes that I use to apply my glue. What I do is just take my E6000 and squeeze it down into the syringe and use those needle tips to apply my glue. So here you will see me squeezing in a little glue, and then I'm just tapping it down so the glue goes down until I get enough glue that I want. Then I'll apply the top of my syringe, and then we'll get started. All right, so here is my glue syringe. It's all ready to go. So I pulled the plunger all the way out so that the glue doesn't start like oozing out. You'll notice that when you push the syringe down, it'll remove the air and let the glue out. So when you're not using that, you don't want your glue oozing out. So what you'll do is just pull the syringe all the way back and release the air that way. All right, so now we're going to start out. My surface has been cleaned, and I'm going to just apply a little bit of glue in one area to start, like a little line, and then we'll start adding our jewels. These are flat back rhinestones that I got from the Deco Craft, and I'm just adding them. It doesn't matter like which one, just randomly, different sizes, different shapes, different colors. That way you'll get the look that you want. Now, if you wanted to do all one color, you could do that, or all one side, you could do that. But for the look I was going for, it's going to be a bunch of different shapes and sizes and colors. And then see right here, I'm not using my glue, so I'm going to pull my syringe plunger all the way back and then just set that to the side. And that's pretty much the process. I mean, it's really simple. You add a little glue, add some jewels, add some more glue, add some more jewels. It's really no technique. You just have to have patience and time to do it. So with this design, I'm just adding rhinestones on the two wide pieces of vinyl. And the vinyl is already under epoxy. So that was my final layer of epoxy. Once I get these jewels added, I will not go over it with epoxy again. And I'm just using my vinyl as a guide to where I want those jewels. So that was pretty much it. I repeated the same process for the other side of my tumbler where that wide stripe was. And once you're done, you're just going to wash your tumbler really good and let it cure. And that's it. So here is the final product. I went with this design because of the inspiration that I showed you in the beginning. And I just love the simplicity of this one. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you guys next time.